losing identity as a nation.
So on Saturday, September 13th, London witnessed its largest demonstration in decades. According to organizers and independent estimates, more than 100,000 people took part. The scale of the protests surprised not only the public, but also security forces, which had to deploy additional police units. Clashes with officers' acts of vandalism, and multiple arrests turned what began as a peaceful march into what many now see as a prelude to a deeper social crisis. Images of crowds carrying anti-immigration and anti-government banners dominated front news sites around the world. Polls from the summer of 2025 show that over 60% of Britons believe the government has lost control of immigration policy. Nearly half openly say the situation threatens the nation's stability. Public sentiment in the UK has been tense for years. Rising living costs add to the unrest. Inflation has fallen from the record highs of 2022 and 2023, but it still hits the poorest the hardest. The housing crisis, shortages within the NHS, and a growing sense of marginalization across many regions are fueling public frustration. In 2024, more than 1.2 million people arrived in the United Kingdom, roughly half of them labor migrants. The government has tried to restrict welfare benefits for newcomers, but the results have been minimal. The British labor market continues to struggle with staff shortages across multiple sectors. Meanwhile, the average rent in London has surpassed $2,000 a month, making life in the capital an unattainable dream for many families. In such an environment, frustration easily turns into anger, and anger often spills onto the streets. Many Britons now admit that their sense of security has clearly weakened. In smaller towns and on the outskirts of London, reports of neighborhood tensions, integration challenges, and pressure on schools and public services are becoming increasingly common. Although police statistics show that overall crime rates remain similar to previous years, the feeling of chaos and loss of control has become a dominant theme in public conversation.
I'm just against what's happening.
I'm concerned about illegal and unfettered immigration.
And our system is currently failing.
I've been really hungry the last 3 days.
I'm working on trying to better myself, but I can't. There's this sort of invisible barrier.
Poland has overtaken the UK in terms of GDP per capita.
There are also external sources fueling this conflict. Americans are becoming increasingly involved in British politics. Figures like Elon Musk and Donald Trump have openly expressed their desire to influence what happens on the British Isles. Social media is flooded with content suggesting that British cities are slipping into disorder, with many videos portraying scenes that make it seem as if the authorities have lost control altogether. The United Kingdom is struggling to cope with immigration, a topic that has dominated public debate for years. Former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak came to power under the slogan, "Stop the boats." He promised that everything was ready for the deportation of illegal immigrants to Rwanda, describing it as the most ambitious operation ever undertaken by the Home Office. According to his assurances, the plan was ready. Despite all the promises, no one seems able to regain control over what is happening in the country. Recently in Manchester, city authorities faced challenges with the so-called Red Tent Camp on St. Peter's Square, where homeless people and some migrants had set up makeshift shelters. Although the police eventually cleared the illegal tents, many individuals simply relocated elsewhere, sparking yet another wave of concern among residents. Many will also remember the tragic Southport attack when on July 29, 2024, a knife assault occurred during a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. 3 young girls were murdered, and 10 other children along with 2 adults were seriously injured. The perpetrator, Axel Rudakabana, a Rwandan national, was sentenced to a minimum of 52 years in prison. Incidents like these only fuel public anger and deepen divisions within British society. As mentioned earlier, economic factors also play a major role. The decision to leave the European Union was meant to curb illegal immigration and strengthen the economy. The problem is, it didn't. In fact, many argue that things have only gotten worse. In 2025, the UK economy is in a tough spot. Many people now say that leaving the European Union made the country weaker. According to the International Monetary Fund, the UK's economy grew by only 0.5% in 2024 and is expected to grow by just 0.6% in 2025. That puts Britain near the bottom compared to other rich countries. For example, United States about 1.9%, Portugal around 2.0%, Spain about 2.3%, Netherlands around 1.6%, Poland about 3.5%. These numbers show that the UK is falling behind many other countries, a big problem for a nation that used to be one of Europe's strongest economies. What's important is that after Brexit, not only trade but also investments went down. London City, once the top financial center in Europe, now losing ground to Frankfurt and Paris. According to an OECD report, in the 5 years since Brexit, foreign direct investment in the UK has dropped by more than 25%. By comparison, the European Union saw only a modest decline of around 5% in the same period, far less severe than in Britain. This shows that while Europe also faces challenges, the UK's post-Brexit economy has clearly struggled the most among major developed nations.
Let's get Brexit done on October the 31st. Let's get it done because of the opportunities that it will bring, not just to take back control of our money and our borders and our laws, to regulate differently and better, to take our place as a proud and independent global campaigner for free trade. Let's get it done because delay is so pointless and expensive.
The call to stop uncontrolled immigration was one of the strongest arguments made by supporters of leaving the European Union. Many Britons believed that Brexit would lead to fewer immigrants, but the reality turned out to be the exact opposite. In 2022, the UK's net migration reached a record high of 745,000 people. One major change did occur. Migrants from the European Union actually began leaving the country. Poles, Romanians, and Lithuanians started returning home or moving to places like Germany and Ireland. But others quickly filled the gap. That same year, more than 1 million people arrived in the United Kingdom. The largest groups came from India, Nigeria, and Pakistan.
Do you think there should be more immigration or less?
Less. You should stop it.
And not putting all these people into hotels when we've got our own people struggling, living on the streets is absolutely disgraceful.
The plan was simple. If Britons no longer wanted certain jobs, newcomers would do them. But reality turned out very different. Instead of working, more people began relying on the benefits system. The UK budget, already strained by the pandemic and Brexit, had to carry even heavier costs. Rents surged and housing availability fell to record lows. Britons, grappling with the cost of living crisis, watched as the state spent billions of pounds to support new arrivals. In major cities such as London, Manchester, and Birmingham, street attacks are becoming increasingly common. A particularly worrying trend is the growing number of knife assaults, with several incidents reported every single day across British cities. Public sentiment is shifting toward the belief that the state has lost control of the streets, and that law enforcement is more focused on political correctness than on effectively fighting crime. Many people now feel that if they don't take care of their own safety, no one else will.
The number of people entering the UK illegally in small boats has more than quadrupled in just the last 2 years. Those illegally crossing the Channel are not directly fleeing a war-torn country, or persecution, or an imminent threat to life.
Instead of real efforts to restore stability, the government continues to apply short-term fixes that fail to address the root of the problem. The United Kingdom's National Health Service, NHS, once admired worldwide for its comprehensive healthcare model, is now on the brink of collapse. One of the biggest issues is the shortage of medical staff. After Brexit, many nurses and doctors from EU countries decided to leave the UK. As a result, hospitals across the country are overwhelmed and understaffed. There aren't enough doctors, nurses, or support workers. Waiting times for surgeries stretch into months, and appointments with specialists take even longer. Successive governments have promised to fix the crisis, but so far, none have delivered. The Conservative Party now stands on the brink of collapse. After years of leadership without direction, the Tories have become a symbol of chaos and incompetence. Political turmoil, disastrous economic decisions, and a lack of any clear vision for the future have caused their support to plummet. Once dominant, they are now fighting for survival. In just a few short years, the United Kingdom has had 5 prime ministers. After Boris Johnson lost power amid scandal, came the brief and disastrous tenure of Liz Truss, lasting only 49 days.
Unless we get a grip and change the way our countries work, the West will be finished in 10 years. And we have been threatened by left-wing ideology.
Her economic decisions triggered a sharp fall in the value of the pound, marking one of the biggest financial shocks in the UK's modern history. Rishi Sunak, who took over afterwards, failed to rebuild public trust. His government struggled with inflation, the energy crisis, and the deepening collapse of the NHS. The downfall of the Conservatives could accelerate the fragmentation of the United Kingdom.
Much hope to gain our independence because we deserve it and we're being mistreated by the Westminster government for the last 300 years.
Scotland is increasingly demanding a second independence referendum, while Northern Ireland's separatist sentiment is now stronger than ever before. If the political chaos continues to deepen in the coming years, the United Kingdom could face a real risk of breaking apart, something that would have seemed unthinkable just a decade ago. People once said that the sun never sets on Britain, but today it seems that it finally has. And it's not only Britain, many other nations are struggling with similar problems. If you want to understand these global shifts in more depth, don't forget to subscribe to World in Depth.